AB&I Foundry manufactures cast iron soil pipe and fittings in Oakland, California. Since the founding, over 100 years ago, AB&I has not only grown into a major producer of drain waste and vent plumbing products, but has also become a lead innovator in environmentally responsible manufacturing and team member safety.
AB&I was started in 1906 in the wake of the Great Earthquake, and we started in Joseph Biscacci's backyard making decorative brass and iron castings. After World War II, Arnold Biscacci expanded our product line into being a very large cast iron soil pipe and fittings manufacturer. And in the third generation, Alan Biscacci took it to the next level, and we're one of the last remaining cast iron soil pipe foundries. So AB&I was acquired by McWane in 2006. And what I find amazing is that we've been a family culture for over 100 years, and we were acquired by another family culture. We have become better and more ourselves under McWane.
AB&I's manufacturing system consists of three major production processes: scrap iron melting and holding, the pipe production process, and the fittings and custom casting production line. Scrap iron is the primary raw material used by AB&I. The foundry uses thousands of tons of scrap iron every month in the manufacturing process.
When customers come to the foundry, they'll be able to witness genuine American manufacturing right here in California. Whether you're an engineer, contractor, or one of our distribution partners, you'll be impressed with the scope and complexity in making our products right here in the USA.
This iron is tested for radiation contamination before melting, a requirement of the CISP 301 standard. The melting of the scrap iron takes place in the cupola. This scrap iron is conveyed, along with coke and limestone, to the foundry's 100-foot-tall, 10-story cupola, where the iron is melted. The air around the cupola is constantly filtered, and team members adhere to strict safety standards as part of AB&I's demanding environmental, health, and safety program. In the cupola, scrap iron is layered with coke and limestone to create the proper chemistry for melting. Air is metered into the chamber, and the molten iron is routed to various locations throughout the foundry for use and production. Once melted, the iron is moved to a holding furnace. Here, the iron is stored in liquid form until needed for production. Iron from this furnace is used in the making of cast iron pipe, fittings, and custom castings. Iron is tested in AB&I's laboratory to ensure quality. Thorough spectrographic and physical testing at the time of manufacture ensures that the iron meets all standards for chemical composition, tensile strength, and durability. Results of these tests are carefully logged and archived for future reference and are verified by both NSF International and the Cast Iron Soil Pipe Institute. AB&I pipe and fittings are also listed by IAPMO and conform to the Uniform Plumbing Code. Team member health and safety is a top priority at AB&I, and all foundry personnel undergo ongoing safety training. Cast iron pipe has been the main product manufactured in the foundry for over half a century. AB&I pipe is produced in specially designed centrifugal pipe machines. In the beginning of the pipe casting process, slurry is injected into the pipe machine and spun at high speeds. A measured amount of molten iron is then poured from the boot into the pipe machine, which distributes the iron evenly to ensure uniform wall thickness of the pipe. Once fully formed, the white-hot pipe is pulled from the machine and placed onto a conveyor for cooling and transporting to the pipe dip for finishing. This centrifugal pipe casting technology produces pipe of superior and consistent quality. Pipe finishing is the final step in the production process. Once pipe is sufficiently cool for finishing, it is dipped into an environmentally friendly coating material for final sealing. The pipe ends are painted silver and then marked with the AB&I name, date of manufacture, country of origin, and the NSF, CISP, and UPC marks. All AB&I cast iron pipe has been third-party certified by NSF International, confirming compliance with the CISP 301 standard. AB&I's commitment to our contractors and distributors is that you will receive high-quality products that are considered a green, sustainable building product, as they are made from 100% recycled scrap iron and an unwavering commitment from a team of professionals who are dedicated to your success. In addition to pipe, AB&I also manufactures fittings and custom castings. The production of these products begins in the pattern shop. In the pattern shop, craftsmen blend art and science to create the original patterns needed for the production of molds. The patterns form the basis for every casting produced except for pipe. Molds form the exterior shape of the casting, and cores create the hollow interiors. These cores will be mated up with their associated molds later in the manufacturing process. The Disa molding machine is where it all comes together. Molds are produced using the Disa molding machine. For hollow castings, team members load sand cores into the Disa. These cores are then married up with their associated molds and conveyed to the pouring stations for final casting. Fittings and custom castings are processed through a series of shaking and turning machines designed to remove leftover sand from the manufacturing process. Discarded sand is then recycled for future use. Castings are then conveyed to the finishing area for final grinding and quality control. They are then packaged into AB&I boxes or custom packaging according to the needs of the customer and transported to the storage area. The shipping department is the last stop for all pipe, fittings, and castings.
We made a decision many years ago that we were going to try to achieve zero discharge, zero production of hazardous materials, zero waste, and zero emissions. And now we recycle probably 95% of all waste on site, and the rest of the waste is recycled outside of AB&I off-site. And as far as emissions, we've installed millions of dollars of equipment for abating emissions from a plant, and we are probably 99.999 efficient, one of the best in the world. And if that doesn't show innovation, I don't know what does.
AB&I has led the industry in environmental protection since the 1970s. In addition to recycling tens of thousands of tons of post-consumer scrap iron every year, AB&I ensures the air, waste, and water in the foundry meets the most aggressive government standards, with internal recycling being the goal. For example, air throughout the foundry is collected through numerous overhead vacuum stations, and the foundry dust is stored in large baghouses. Much of this dust is recycled back into the cupola as an aid in melting, recovering key ingredients for the melt operation.
We recycle over 70,000 gallons of processed and cooling water. On site, we've also added an additional stormwater system that runs over 1,000 gallons a minute, and we utilize 35% of all stormwater back into the system. Our future plans are to use 100%. Our goal at AB&I is to be a zero discharge, 100% recycle on site.
Water used in cooling the cupola and pipe machines is sent to the on-site water treatment plant, where contaminants are removed and the water is cooled. Processed water moves from the mixing tank to the clarifier, where other debris is precipitated out in the form of sludge. The water then goes to the settling tank for further cleansing, then on to the cooling tower before being returned to the foundry floor for use again in cooling critical melting and pouring stations. Rainwater is collected in below-grade catch basins before being pumped to the filtering system for processing. Stormwater enters the system as a murky combination of water, dirt, and other contaminants. Once in the system, stormwater is sent to the settling tanks where large particles sink to the bottom and form sludge. The water is then pumped to the filtering systems where it passes through a special media to remove smaller particles and other contaminants. When the water is clean enough to sustain marine life, some of it is recycled back to the foundry for cooling the cupola, while the rest is discharged. AB&I takes its environmental responsibility seriously and has received numerous awards and special recognitions from the Environmental Protection Agency and other environmental groups. In addition, AB&I products have been granted special ICC ES Save certification by the International Code Council in recognition of the over 95% recycled content used in AB&I products. This certification verifies that AB&I products meet specific sustainability targets defined by today's codes, standards, and green ratings. The AB&I team has been producing quality cast iron products right here in America for over 100 years. It's the people that make the difference. Tour the foundry. You'll see what a difference a great team can make. AB&I products are manufactured under fair working conditions in a safe and healthy working environment, which is free of discrimination and where management is committed to respecting the rights and dignity of our team members.